Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back, dear learners, on this course on architectural thesis. My name is Dr. Vishal Chettry and I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Architecture, Planning and Design at IIT Varanasi. In this particular lecture, we will focus on the topic site planning. So now let us look into the content of the presentation. We will start with the recap and then the introduction to site planning, thereafter the definition, application and the purpose of site plans, the components of site plans such as layout, landscape, circulation and the services that are very essential when you start planning this site plan. Then drawing convention and scale. So what are different types of scales and the annotations that is commonly used in site plan. We will try to cover those aspects in this particular section. Then we will understand on integrating design concept into the site layout. Thereafter few case examples will be discussed and then we will critique some site plans that are used in different cases, and then we will understand the merits and demerits of the site plans, and then at the end we will try to take like important points that have been covered in the presentation, in this presentation, and then there will be some few wrap up activities that you can complete once the task is this presentation is over, and then details about further resources and reading and what topics will be covered in the next presentation. So to give you a recap of what was covered in the previous presentation, I showed you some slides which focused on site planning principles and zoning, in which I tried to introduce you the details about site planning and the strategic organization of land and built elements within a project site. So that was basically introduced to you. The principles of site planning was also discussed, which included functional, aesthetic and sustainable placement of structures and spaces. Thereafter site zoning was defined, that is the allocation of specific land uses that regulates spatial organization for efficiency and harmony. So that was discussed. Then the criteria for zoning, which included environmental factors, social factors, regulatory factors that were used, or the basic description to these different terms were introduced to optimize the land utilization within the site. So that these topics were covered, along with the understanding of contours and the natural features that are present in the site and how can we retain the existing natural features in the site. So that was covered in the previous presentation, along with the understanding of relationship between site analysis and planning was explained, so that it ensures an informed design decision process that integrates the context and the site constraints. So overall, these different aspects related to site planning principles and zoning was covered in the previous presentation. So now let us look into the details about site plan, like how is it prepared and what it is meant for, and what are the different details that one can get from the site plan. So site plan is a visual representation of a building or a complex or a building complexes within a plot of land. So for here example, you can see one site which just represents one main building. So that means it may be a very small type of built typology. For example, it may be a residence or just an office building that is being designed within a site. So for that this type of site plan is generally referred. So it describes the location, orientation, relation to the surrounding context. So all this information can be derived from the site plan. So along with the site plan, there is always we need to add that is a key plan, which actually informs the person who will look into the site plan, where is this building exactly located in a certain city. So if you add a key plan, that will further add detail to the site plan that you have prepared. Along with that, the orientation, that is the north direction, is added, that provides an understanding how the opening or the orientation of the building is actually designed. So these informations are gathered from the site plan. Along with that, one will understand how the entry to the site is actually planned. So from which direction is the main entry being designed, where is the parking location within the site, how one enters the main building, so which is the direction from where the one can enter the building. So probably in this case, this may be the entrance towards the building, and how is the unbuilt feature integrated with the built space. So what sort of landscaping is done, and where are the hardscape, where is the softscape. So all these informations are basically there in the site plan, along with the parking details as shown here in this case. So it describes these details. It is a two-dimensional drawing. It is generally a 2D drawing, that is, there is no elevation that is seen in the site plan, because this is generally the roof level drawing of the particular building. That means whatever is present below the at the level of roof and it's below is actually seen in the site plan. So this is what is observed, and is basically a bird's eye view in a 2D format. So the site plan shows both existing and proposed features. Existing features like topography, vegetation, infrastructure, or the buildings that has to be retained in case of existing features, and then proposed features like the new buildings, landscaping, or infrastructure additions that are done on the site. So these informations are to be retained in the site, along with the scale at which it is prepared, and the major road details, like there are roads in both the direction, so these are highlighted with the drawings, and the width of the road has to be mentioned appropriately. So what is the width of this road and the width of this road. So all this information has to be mentioned, along with the direction that this road leads to. So what is the major landmark that we reach if you go from this direction, and likewise for this direction. So these informations are necessary, along with what are the different build typologies that are present all around the site. So that also helps us understand whether the orientation or the planning of activities within the block is done appropriately or not. So moving ahead, the importance of site plan. A site plan is the foundation of architectural design communication, because we understand the design from by looking at the site plan itself. Then we will look into the further details of the buildings. So it shows how the building relates to the site and the context. It is used by architects, engineers, planners, and authorities to explain the overall details that are there on the site, that are built or maybe the unbuilt or maybe the existing features. The role of site plan is to communicate the design idea effectively. So it expresses zoning, orientation, circulation, landscape, and the services, construction reference, such as it guides contractors and ensures regulations are met, that is whatever is the legal aspects related to building bylaws and zoning guidelines. So all that are being followed can be understood from the site plan itself, because the ground coverage, FAR, and the permissible built up space, so all these informations can be referred from the site plan. Acts as a visual contract between design intent and the execution. Then to define a site plan, it is an architectural drawing that illustrates the proposed development within a parcel of land. So if this is the land that is there for the development, so how much land are we actually utilizing for designing the building or for constructing a building? So that is what is represented from the site plan. Along with that, the details about existing condition and the proposed changes are also observed in the site plan. So how the building is oriented and all the details from where the axis is planned, how is the circulation happening within the site, all these informations are gathered from the site plan. So beyond simply showing where a building sits, it is a strategic document used in planning, zoning, and securing the permits, because this is essential to get the permission to construct a building from the municipal authorities. Then it is a scale drawing of a project within its boundaries, includes built, unbuilt and the infrastructural details. It shows the site context like roads as discussed and elaborated in the previous slides, then adjacent properties and the topography of the site. Then the purpose of site plan. So the purpose of site plan is to show some certain features like the property line. So what is the exact property dimension or the site detail? So that is actually shown from the site plan drawing. Then the topography, is there any contour lines that is present? So where is the slope, where is the the higher level, where is the lower level within the site? All these informations can be gathered from the site plan. Along with that, the natural site features, where are the existing vegetation located, or if there is any water body that is flowing all around the site, so this can be understood. If there is any existing water body, if there is existing trees that are located, so all these informations can be gathered from the site plan. Along with that, existing or proposed site construction can also be understood. You can highlight on the top of the building that if there is any existing structure here, so label it existing structure, and whatever are the proposed structures, so you can label it in the drawing itself. Then the circulation, the movement pattern within the site, how is the movement happening, where is the vehicular movement, how is the pedestrian movement happening. So all this information can be gathered from the site plan along with the legal constraint, that is the setback, right of way and all these information. Then now let us look into the application of site plan. So the site plan helps you in the design development, that is it leads from the concept development to the detailed design process, client presentation, that is easy visualization of the proposed building, government approvals, that is for bylaws and the codes that are followed or not, that can be understood from the site plan, and the same is used for securing permission from the municipal authorities to construct the building. Then the construction documentation, it is a part of the set of drawings that architects prepare for the client. So these are different applications of the site plan. Then the components of site plan, it includes it is a robust site plan which synthesizes various layers of information into a cohesive whole. So layout and building footprints are shown there, circulation pathways, utility services, and then the landscape design is also shown in the site plan. So these are different components of the site plan. Then also as per the layout, building footprint and orientation is understood in detail. Then setbacks and margins are highlighted in the site plan itself, buildable area versus open area. So this information is also gathered from site plan, relationship between built mass and open spaces, consideration of views, privacy and the interaction zone. Aligning layout with sun path and wind direction, so this can be understood through the site plan. So probably in the site plan you can show what is the prevailing wind direction and then how is the sun path movement within the site. So all this information can be shown in the site plan. So this is how your openings and the material that you have used or the fenestration details that you have used in the site can be understood if you add these details in your site plan. Then the other component is the landscape. So landscape details are basically understood from the site plan itself. You demarcate the spaces where green spaces are to be developed. It enhances the microclimate and user comfort. If you plan for green spaces within the site, it promotes suitability, sustainability as well as the biodiversity of the site. Hardscape elements like plazas, pathways, seating and courts are or can be integrated as a landscape component within the site. Visual and functional integration with architecture, so this can also be followed in case of site while doing a site plan, especially through the landscaping features. Landscapes also act as an extension of the design concept. So whatever is your idea related to the project, so partially that can also be fulfilled from the landscape design that you have done for the project. Then the circulation, so as already mentioned, it is one of the component of site plan. So in circulation we try to highlight the pedestrian circulation, how is the pedestrian movement happening within the site, and from the site plan itself one understands whether there is a conflict between the pedestrian and the vehicular movement within the site. So if there is anything like that, so one can avoid by looking into the draft site plan that has been prepared for the project. So if you focus the accessibility aspect, pedestrian circulation aspect, then you can promote accessibility, safety and inclusivity for the project. Then the barrier free design that is to be done, so ramps, tactile paving and universal design has to be understood in this case. So linking built form with seamless movement is possible, vehicular circulation, that is drop off point and parking zone, all these are to be covered in case of site plan. So service access, that is the delivery zone, fire tender routes, so all these are to be demarcated in the site plan. So all there would be a road that will be circulating all around the build space. Generally we provide such kind of circulation space, so that in case of fire or such kind of disasters, there is a route that fire tender can use it to minimize such kind of accidents in the site. Then there are some services that has to be planned for the successful success of that particular project. So water supply systems, pipelines, tanks and bore wells, all these are to be demarcated in the site plan. So you can show the services layout in the site plan itself for the way it has been represented in the sample drawing here. So with blue and red color, all the basic services are shown. So water supply as well as electricity supply to the building are shown through these services drawing at the site level. Then drainage and stormwater management, how is rainwater harvesting done, where are the percolation pits in case of sewerage, where are the manholes, where are inspection chambers located, where is septic tank, and from septic tank how the pipe work is done, so that all the sewage is transferred to the municipal services line that runs just outside the site. So all these details are to be showcased in the site plan, along with the electricity and communication network details, sewage and waste management process. Also, if you follow all this, you ensure that there is hygiene and smooth functioning that happens in the particular project or building that you have designed. Along with this, you also have to understand about how to represent the drawings in the site plan. So for this you have to follow drawing conventions and scales, appropriate scale for the site plan. So this is done so that the accuracy and clarity of communicating the information is possible. So the common architectural scale for site plan, generally what we do is the ratio that is followed or the scale that is followed for the plan, we try to double it for the site plan. So if your site plan or floor plan is at a scale of 1:100, so ideally we select a site plan which is at scale of 1:200 or 250 at the max. And likewise, if you have a very huge site with scattered planning, so at that in such cases you can go for a scale up to 1:500. So and then the symbols and legend, because in site plan if your drawings will be at a smaller scale, so your text cannot be at at a very bigger scale. So that is why you have to use proper symbols in the site plan, and that the legend can describe what does these symbols mean in your site plan. Along with that, you can also take help of textures to represent what the different pavement and the unpaved areas represent. So you can have texture that you can add in the drawing, and then same can be represented through the legends. And also you can use some graphical scale as shown here, along with the such kind of scales that is used. Then also you show the orientation of the building, that is where is the north direction located in the particular site. So that helps one understand how is the orientation of the particular building, and also it gives an accurate measurement of other details. The north arrow indicates the true north, while the scale bar provides a graphic representation of distances. So these are two important things that has to be kept in mind. Along with that, you also have to focus on the line weights and for hierarchy. So this is generally done for to understand, to provide depth to the drawing. For example, if you have a multi-storied building and there is one just G+1 structure near to the multi-storied building, so by using the depth of or using the line weight, you can show that the building which is at higher story will have darker lines. So because anything which is near to the eye level will be darker than the one which is further away from the eye level. So since site plan is a kind of 2D drawing at a bird's eye level, so whichever the object which is very near to the eyesight will be observed in a darker line. So that is what you can use in while preparing the site plan. Along with that, you can also showcase the shadow pattern in the site to give an understanding of how the shadows are created within the site by the way you have designed the building. So now let us look into the aspect where how you can integrate design concept into the site layout. So a site layout should reflect the thematic and symbolic ideas of the project, balancing the functional requirements with the conceptual goals. So whether the building is climate responsive or not, this is partially understood from the site plan itself. If you have a landscaping component, if you have thought for capturing winds from the prevailing direction, so all these information can be seen in the partially it can be seen in the site plan. Then the topography and integration of topography, whether the existing contour features or the slopes have been utilized to its full potential or not within the site, this also can be understood along with the contextual harmony. So it ensures that the proposed development integrates seamlessly with its surrounding urban or natural environment, considering adjacent structures, historical significance and the community needs of that type of project. Then the design concept that you will have, you will draw and you will come up with some block models to explain your concept. So that actually develops into the site plan. So wherever the blocks are arranged, you try to detail it out and then tentatively draw the circulation pattern for these blocks. So how is the vehicular and the pedestrian movement happening, from where will be the main entrance that will be allowed within the site, where will be the parking located. So these informations can be gradually developed from the concept to the site plan sheet. Then on this particular note, there are other factors to keep in mind, that is reflect the thematic and symbolic ideas, that is use spatial layouts and integrate landscape within the project, balance functional and conceptual goals where you harmonize user needs with design intent, then respond to the climate and topography, that is adaptive landscaping, reduces the stormwater runoff from your site, then incorporate green infrastructure, that is enhance sustainability and resilience efforts, increase use of adaptive landscaping, that is 40% growth aiding environmental response, then support green infrastructure adoption, that is 20% rise since 2020, promotes the resilience in the project. So green infrastructure has to be promoted within the site so that the resilience and sustainability is actually increased through the design intervention that is done. Then now let us look into few examples by which you can understand how to initiate the site planning exercise. So in case of well designed institutional campus, we should prioritize circulation paths, green spaces for relaxation and informal learning, strategic placement of academic buildings to encourage interdisciplinary collaboration. So to incorporate all these features, the design consideration should include pedestrian first design, that is you should prioritize the pedestrians within the campus, institutional campus. So what sort of planning is done in that case? Connectivity between departments, how they are made interconnected, adaptable outdoor spaces for events and daily student life. So these are the design consideration that has to be followed in the site plan. So in this case, what you can do is your university campus that you design often would promote the use of central courtyards or spines to connect diverse faculties, that is different disciplines or departments can be connected through courtyards or bridges within the blocks of the site. Integrate lecture halls, libraries and student accommodation seamlessly. So that can be an approach, but it purely depends on the idea that you have in your mind. So what is the concept that you have developed for the project? So those features have to be partially linked through the site plan also. Then is the example of urban townships. So townships actually have a blend of residential, commercial and sometimes the public spaces also. So thereby to create a vibrant, self-contained communities. So site plans must address high density living, diverse programmatic needs and complex vehicular and pedestrian flows. So all this has to be there in the urban township. So the key consideration in this case would be vertical zoning, public realm design, multimodal transport integration and active ground floor frontages. So the example would in this case would be to prepare a lively district with apartment, retail, restaurants and public parks within the site, so that all are interconnected and they are efficient in providing their services to the users of the township. Then now let us look into the factors by which we can understand and analyze the site plans in detail. So to evaluate a site plan requires a critical eye and considerations of multiple factors, such as an understanding of functional clarity. So you should be able to understand the purpose very clearly by looking into the site plan. Does it address the programmatic needs that you have formulated for the project? So that has to be understood. Along with that, the climatic responsiveness, that is orientation, shading and water use inside your site. So whether you have enough provision to capture the rainwater or to limit the stormwater runoff from your site. So what are those provisions? Have you thought of providing soak pits or any small water body where the rainwater can accumulate and can recharge the groundwater of that particular zone? So is there any provision for these kind of things? Aesthetic appeal, does it contribute positively to the visual environment of in that particular place? Utility integration, that is, are services seamlessly integrated and practical enough? Flexibility, that is, can the design that you have done for the site plan adapt to the future changes or the evolving needs? Accessibility, and another important feature, is it inclusive for all users including those with disabilities? So have your pedestrian movement that you have thought, does it think of the other physically challenged persons or not? Are there enough signages? Are there the pathways that you have designed, does it take care of people with wheelchair or people who are visually impaired? So are they being taken into consideration when you design the pedestrian movement within the site? So all this can be understood from looking into the site plan in detail, and these points in fact should be highlighted in your site plan. So when you explain your site plan, it should not be just talking about the placement of blocks, rather these features as highlighted here should be discussed in detail so that you convey a certain meaning from the site plan that you have prepared. Then now let us look into the key expectation and outcomes from the site plan. So we expect that you understand the importance and the role of site plan when you start preparing the site plan. That is, the outcome is to recognize site plan as a key design and communication tool, learn the definition, purpose and application of site plan, to identify and explain the major components of the site plan it is necessary to for that purpose, explore the core component of the site plan so that you are able to understand and balance the functional, aesthetic and sustainable features within your site, familiarize with drawing conventions and scales so that you correctly interpret symbols, scales and line weights within your within the site plan that you have prepared, and see how design concepts integrate into the site planning so that you apply knowledge to integrate concept with the functionality in your site plan. So likewise, there are other key expectations and outcomes for the particular project for any of the site plan. So to wrap up what we have learnt in this presentation, so site plan ensures that the project is completed very efficiently while meeting the regulatory requirements. Strategic zoning and layout decisions has been incorporated by improving functionality, accessibility and the long-term sustainability within the project. A well-prepared site plan provides a clear roadmap from concept design to the final development. So site plan equalizes core, it's a kind of core communication tool in architecture, because the information or the preliminary information that orients a person to the site is through site plan only. So a site plan has to talk about these details as discussed in the previous slide, so that the person is well connected to the design features that you have included in the site plan. Yes, the site plan also integrates layout, landscape, circulation and the services that are proposed for the particular building. So it must balance conceptual ideas with functional efficiency. So overall good site planning ensures sustainability, clarity and the beauty of the project. So there are few activities that are listed that you can complete by the end of this lecture, so that you are able to understand the application of what all is being covered in the presentation. Then these are some resources which you can refer for enhanced understanding on the site planning. So in our next presentation, we will discuss about the details on preparing the single line floor plan. So introduction to single line floor plan will be there, translating concept into spatial organization, planning circulation and environmental factors, structural clarity and compliance, the common mistakes that are observed when you prepare the single line plan. So that will also be elaborated, and some case examples will be selected by which an idea on how to prepare site plan will be discussed. So with this I would like to conclude my presentation, and I hope that these points related to site plans will be useful for you when you start drawing the site plan for your project, and also these will be very much beneficial especially in case of thesis while explaining the points in your site plan. So I would like to thank you for your patience listening, and expect to meet you in the next presentation.